Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to International Affairs broadcasting from the Gulshan studio. My name is, of course, Shamsul Alam Pantho. As I bring you the most important updates around the globe and also while in our country, we know that almost 2 days ago, the 68th annual Grammy Awards took place, and of course, it was headed and hosted by late night comedian as well as host Trevor Noah. Of course, Trevor Noah had made a series of jokes that had got everyone laughing. He joked that the Grammy was something artists want almost as much as Trump wants Greenland, which makes sense because Epstein's island is gone, so he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. These comments made to the storm on social media, and of course Donald Trump had said that he is going to take action against Trevor Noah regarding such comments. So I want to begin the discussion for today. It's important as we also hear news out of Pakistan that they are fighting the Balochistan Liberation Army. Very important updates coming out. But before I begin the discussion today, let me introduce all my panelists. In the studio, we have Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. I welcome him back onto this program. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
As well as Norman Floyd Barnes, our geopolitical correspondent from Washington, District of Columbia. I was talking about some of the issues that the Grammy awardees were talking about, such as Bad Bunny claiming ICE out. It is now an important issue as musicians are coming together to understand this domestic issue inside the United States of America. I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes. What is your assessment that of this very situation?
Good morning. Here we go again. The president is taking issues with the media. This time with Trevor Noah. He threatened to sue him regarding comments made, and this has once again caused concern with the media and the entertainment industry. Right now, we are still dealing with the budget. We are still on a partial shutdown with the government. The president is urging Congress, particularly the House, to quickly, hopefully Tuesday, approve the budget with a cutout for dealing with the Department of Homeland Security. So right now, with the cold weather and these chilling comments made by Trevor Noah, the president is pissed off. That's the best say. Thank you.
Thanking Norman Floyd Barnes for his comments regarding this issue. However, there are much more important issues that are coming out. One of them include regarding the Russia-Ukraine war, in which the U.S. President Donald Trump says that yesterday, that Russia President Vladimir Putin agreed to halt attacks on Ukraine for 1 week after he raised concerns about extreme cold weather affecting the country. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said he contacted Putin directly to request a temporary pause on missile strikes, particularly targeting major cities. I want to focus inside the studio with Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. Of course, the news comes out as Donald Trump is talking to Vladimir Putin, asking him, requesting him to not continue these attacks for another whole 1 week. That's how the news says. But that is solely a Kremlin decision to make. Kremlin has used this winter season in order to attack the energy infrastructure of Ukraine, and it has been very effective. I want to understand what is your take regarding this issue.
Thank you, the participants, Mr. Barnes. Look, this is the war going on more than 3 years, and Putin said that they will capture Kiev in 24 hours. So 3 years has gone. So it's not that easy to capture or invade a country so quickly. So now this is the winter, very cold winter, and they have hit the power sector, and lot of people are out of electricity. So you can understand the sufferings they are going through without the power. It is a very cold area. So that's why Trump tried to negotiate, Trump tried to make a truce, and there was a truce for a very short time. But again, Putin is attacking and attacking the infrastructure, especially the power sector. So, to ease the people's condition in the cold winter, so Putin, Trump has requested to give a pause for a whole week.
Right.
So, this is a humanitarian call, I believe. So, whether Putin will comply or not, that is up to Putin, but Putin is not missing any chance to hit the soft targets like the power station, like the gas station, like the parliament buildings, and any other target they can hit. So, I think it will be very difficult that Trump capturing a head of a state,
As we've seen in Venezuela.
Venezuela, and what the musician has told in the 68 Grammy Awards, that is a criticism that you are not pursuing the correct foreign policy or domestic policy. So, when a prime minister or president do like that, President Trump is really come to his own self that he wants to undermine the concept of sovereignty,
Right.
the concept of world order, the concept of peaceful coexistence. He is undermining. That's why today if he is demanding Greenland, tomorrow he might demand that I need UK, because that is also an island. So, with this situation, with this policy pursued by Trump, how much Putin will listen to him, is bound to listen. Actually, what leverage Trump has, I feel nothing. Rather, Trump is showing a way that you do your job, I do my job. So, that's why whether there will be a pause or not, that depends entirely on the decision of Putin. And so far the tendency, the strategy, the military targets they have engaged, they have not missed any, probably any opportunity hitting the soft targets,
Of course.
including killing the people. So, we will have to wait to see what Putin is doing on the call of Mr. Trump.
Of course, that is important, and many of the topics and the venues have been opened up by you, sir. That was a very beautiful observation. Of course, a humanitarian call regarding this issue between the US and Russia. Of course, it connects up with Ukraine, and the idea of peaceful coexistence is missing as far as we can understand. But as of yesterday, we've also talked about a meeting between the two sides of Ukraine and Russia in going to be held in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi. And as well, there are other issues inside America that I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes. We know popular singer Bad Bunny had come to the stage and he had said ICE needs to get out. Of course, he's referring to Donald Trump's administration and his policies. And of course, in Portland, Oregon, the mayor publicly demanded that ICE withdraw from the city after federal officers used tear gas, rubber bullets and pepper balls against demonstrators, including families with children, outside an ICE facility during a protest. That is a very common coming out of the United States of America as of recent. So I want to know what is the future prospectus for these kinds of protests? Do you think that the administration will listen to these remarks? And of course, we know that ICE is also facing a lot of pressures, not only from the people of America, but also from French multinational computer firm, who is of course said they cannot be seen complicit in supporting a faction of another government who is taking such drastic actions. More from Norman Floyd Barnes.
Yes, good morning. Thank you again. The issue with ICE is that ICE is becoming a very bad and negative connection with the United States. Anything that apparently ICE is doing is sending out negative uh, response globally. We're talking about Minnesota. We're talking about reducing the impact of ISIS attacks in Minnesota, but that allows other cities like Portland, and other U.S. citizens to be targeted. So right now, there's no change in the policy, it's just the location. The locations will change, but the ISIS enforcement tactics is still going on. And because of that, Congress is now debating on how to deal with that. And right now, the most effective way is to hold up the budget, the funding in the bill. Right now, we're still on a partial shutdown in the United States
Right.
regarding that fact that ISIS is running recklessly through the United States and is setting a bad impression globally. And the people are not happy with this, and they're going to their Congress people about we want this ISIS organization defunded. They want to eliminate this, so they're talking now with the president and the administration about how to restructure, do a do-over of this entire Department of Homeland Security and how they enforce things in the United States. It is not looking well. We have the Olympics coming up, and the U.S. government wants to use pieces, portions of ISIS to not ISIS of ICE to do protection for our athletes. The Italian government don't want anything to do with ICE. They don't want any of them anything, even though they may have a office duty or whatever. They don't want ICE in the country at all. So this is the prevailing thoughts of the people in the United States and apparently the global that ISIS is a bad, bad omen for the United States, and it is not something I think is going to be tolerated to the point where they cannot exist the way they're doing continually. The United States government is continually using it as enforcement, but I believe that with the pressure from the people and Congress, there have to be major reforms on how they operate and who they report to. So we're waiting to see exactly how this thing is going to go on. But right now, they have not slowed down a bit in terms of what are they doing, how they're enforcing, and the impact they're having on the common folks and the globe.
Of course, a beautiful observation by Norman Flood Burns. I want to have another question to you, Norman, before I can come back to the studio. The U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced Monday that her department will immediately deploy body cameras to all law enforcement officers operating in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So it took 2 American lives as of last month for this kind of policy to change. Now everyone is going to wear a body camera, and it will bring more reliability upon their actions, or as we are yet to believe what kind of actions they may be. Of course, Kristi Noem had faced a lot of backlash from the U.S. citizens given the 2 numerous killings that has happened. So do you think that wearing of body cameras is going to add on to the fact that the people want ICE to leave the city, but the Homeland Security is now offering body cameras? What is your observation, Norman Flood Barnes?
Yes, my opinion is based on my experience actually dealing with body cameras is that they have this thing, they have an on and off switch, and you can turn that camera on and off at your choosing. And also with the camera, having the camera now federal officers now, I'm not talking about local, federal officers now has the camera, but there's no guidelines. Okay, everybody has a camera. What is the guideline? What's the instruction? So what you're going to see now, we know this situation I'm dealing with, the federal officers are dealing with in the street. They are now knowing that it's going to be captured with the camera. So the incidents that we're seeing now are going to happen and continue when the camera's off, or a situation where there's no cameras there. So I don't see any benefit from it. It's just accountability things. Say, hey, we're doing this. We're going to video. So what you're going to see is what we want you to see with the cameras. But what really happening, you're not going to see. So it may be a situation now. Actually, it will be a situation now where the public is now going to be more interactive. We're taking more, using the telephones, cameras to capture these activities. But I do not see it was going to be beneficial to the American public by having the federal officers now have body cams. If we want you to see it, you'll see it on the body cam. If we don't want you to see it, you won't see it on the body cam. So that's one of the things happening.
Of course, a very important update from our geopolitical correspondent Norman Floyd Burns. As I focus back on the studio with Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, we were talking about the American situation, distraught of Americans on a daily basis, inflation and the rise of everything becoming more expensive to attain. And of course, at this very trying time, we see how Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, is saying that our officers are going to wear body cameras. But in the shooting of Helen Good and in the shooting of Alex Pretty, there was not enough time before they could understand what was going on. There wasn't a civilian arrest or an arrest made. Where were the handcuffs? They got out their guns and they opened fire. That one nurse, Alex Pretty, was overwhelmed in the face of ICE agents. And it's not just in Minnesota, it's all around America. We also see that Portland, Oregon is also coming out with major protests. It is very hard to understand that America, in the first world nation or the new world order, we see such protest is happening. What is your observation?
Yeah, we see the domestic violence on the rise. This is because of the many reasons. One of the reasons is the Trump's policy. So there is a understanding like that the business person is never a good politician. You will not find any single example where a pure business person could be a good administrator. So Trump has for the second time has come to the presidency and actually demonstrating his political quality as a leader. So the body camera is a policing system. Body camera to see whether the police personnel abuse of power or not. You can use power. Using power must be proportionate to the violence.
Right.
So if there is a threat that you can only hit, not going to be killed, you cannot shoot. So that's why a body camera is a very good instrument, very good apparatus to see that the level of violence, the degree of violence, whether you need to open fire or not. So that's why body camera in all advanced country, the police use body camera. And in Bangladesh next election, the Home Ministry has said that Bangladesh police also will use body camera.
And that is very
so
reason
body
why
body camera is actually to see the policing, whether police has abused his position or used excessive power to control the mob, to control the violence. So this is a good decision. It should have been there. Now you see the world has two orders. First, it came after World War First. After World War First, there was a world order which broke down in 20 years, and the Second World War. And Second World War has brought another world order. And what was that order? That order was that every big or small country, everyone will obey the sovereignty, concept of sovereignty, concept of domestic policy, that the bigger country will not intervene in the internal affairs of the other countries. So we have seen the Cold War, the polarization, the socialist bloc and the democratic bloc. The socialist bloc has broken down. Now world has become multipolar, though America is a very dominant power. So what America has established the example that capturing a head of state, Mr. Maduro, has really put a dangerous situation to the established world order. Now Putin can think, you never know, Putin can think that I can also establish the old USSR,
Right.
I can establish, because I have already captured Crimea. That Mr. Trump has nothing to say. You can say verbally, but nobody is going to pay heed. So the world has come to a very dangerous situation with the Trump policy. In earlier regime, he wanted to build a wall. I don't know where the issue of wall has gone, where it has gone, and with the expense of Mexico, that he is no more with that wall issue. Now he has come with this Greenland issue and other issues. So the domestic violence comes from the misgovernment, mismanagement, and a exploitative situation. So a business person in his head always in the cover of governments, in the cover of head of state, in the cover of presidency, he will have his business, and to cover that his business policy, he will always have a external issue like Maduro, like Ukraine, Russia, like this Greenland, etc. He will be always busy only to capitalize this business, his domestic business, personal business, and business of his group. And as people are not happy, so they are coming out with the various issue, and the violence is taking place. So American police should have body camera earlier. I don't know why they have to introduce now. It is their internal policy. In all other advanced countries, they use body camera when they go for the police action, because that really control the abuse of power by the police. Police tends to abuse the power everywhere in the world. You know, Mr. Floyd, there was a black people. So how police killed him? And out of that violence, the slogan came, Black Lives Matters.
Yes, you're talking about George Floyd.
Yeah, George Floyd. It's not our friend Mr. Norman Floyd. So that issue has brought Black Lives Matters. Actually, every life matters. And a similar situation occurred before 15 years in Los Angeles. 3 white police killed a black person, and there were a violence. And because of the bad governance of Mr. Trump in his earlier regime, California state declared independence. So they demanded that they will break away from the USA. So you never know that because of the bad policy of Trump, there might be more demand like this. Right. So that will be a bad news for the America itself.
Of course, very important updates coming from Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. A lot of topics touch on world governance and how US is complicit in various issues from around the world. Of course, a matter that I want to enforce before I can go for a short commercial break, technology and innovation, the world as a whole, and how it can be used for the betterment of mankind, betterment of humanity. Of course, if you look at simple issue of body cameras, they should have been implemented far longer with security agencies for the betterment of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a short commercial break. Do stay with us.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. crystal clear swimming pool.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on International Affairs. We were definitely talking about worldwide issues and the U.S. position. In the studio, we have Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, while we have Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. I want to discuss with Norman Floyd Barnes this next following issue. Donald Trump, the U.S. president, on Monday announced he would reduce tariffs on Indian goods in exchange for, among other things, a promise to stop buying Russian oil. That would be a tall task for India, who has been importing roughly 1.5 million barrels of Russian oil each day, even months after Trump has placed tariffs on Indian goods as a punishment. According to a global trade data provider, Kepler, Russian oil makes up more than a third of India's overall imports. That is on the one hand when we have a free trade agreement with the European Union. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, what is this tariff strategy? To a certain extent, when you do not like foreign policy decisions, you impose a tariff, and then when it is to your liking, you reduce this tariff. Almost a year and a month that we see this kind of policy and global strategy playing out. I want to understand more on the India and the U.S. relations from Norman Floyd Barnes.
Yes, the issue with the tariffs is being utilized as a weapon, a tool, an instrument to manipulate a government into doing exactly what they want. So in this situation, it has appears to been effective. India has stated that they will stop buying or start utilizing or monetizing the use of oil from Russia. As a result, the president is going to reward them with a reduction in tariffs. So this is still a pressure instrument used to force governments to do what they want them to do, or to form in a different way, to respond in a different way, to do certain things. So this is a apparently effective instrument used by the Trump administration to basically get his will. However, I don't believe it's going to be something that is going to stand up in the courts. Eventually, the courts will get around to the issues stating that the tariffs itself imposed and how it's been imposed is illegal, and any type of profits from there will have to be returned to the people, to the governments, which the funds was taken from. So right now, it's an effective tool to intimidate, to bully countries to do what they do temporarily, but long term is not something that's going to be sustainable, and the effectiveness of it will go away, and some other instrument will have to be used to manipulate governments to do exactly what they need to do.
Of course, very important observations regarding the tariff policy, but I want to understand more from Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. Our neighbor India, recently, you know that they have stricken a landmark deal. It took them 2 decades to understand this deal with the European Union, the free trade agreement between that. And not just this, we know that India has been a supporter of Russia, but on economic terms, not on direct military confrontation with trade and cooperation, no. They were understanding the fact that they need crude oil, and they are buying it from Russia, 1.5 million barrels, as I was saying. This has inadvertently supported the Russian aggression towards Ukraine, and that is the U.S. position coming out there. U.S. has dropped its reciprocal tariff from 25% to 18%. India finds itself in the helm of global geopolitics. Your observations, because there's a very important tactic and strategy they have missed out on, and I am very keen to ask you this. Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, all of which compromise around India, including the SAARC framework. We are all left out of this deal with the European Union. Of course, all of our markets are going to get affected because of this deal. What is your observation?
Look, first of all, I believe the India-Russia relations is very deep-rooted. No other deal can hamper these relations. And the Indian relations with USA is just sometimes good, sometimes bad, flexible, issue based. So the USA offer may not deter India from importing crude oil from Russia. This is on side. Coming back to again this capturing Maduro, one of the objectives revealed that the Venezuela affairs is being now controlled by USA, and especially the oil. So this you can compare with the invasion of Iraq.
Right.
Iraq invasion was nothing but plundering the oil. This so-called weapon of mass destruction, we know that Saddam was in a position to assemble weapon of mass destruction in 40 minutes. Who told it? Mr. Tony Blair. Mr. Tony Blair was never penalized for this false information, for this false intelligence. Nobody has told. So this is a world of plundering. So again, same thing has happened after invasion of Iraq, the capturing of Maduro from Venezuela, only for oil. Now the oil industry is being controlled by USA, where they will now export this oil. All of the big countries, India. So multiple objectives. I offer India Venezuelan oil in a cheaper price than Russia. So you come back from Russia. But how much it will work, I don't know. India is a big global market. So European Union will have the free treaty. It happens for the bilateral mutual advantages and benefits. So that will happen. Indian market is a big market for any big country.
Right.
Now, this offer, we have seen that America is offering Venezuelan oil to India. You see the politics, the objectives of capturing Venezuelan president.
Right. To negotiate, to cut off from Russia.
Yeah, this has opened a very dangerous situation for the world politics, regional stability and peace. Now, India geographically is a big country. Now, if you say that I need Maldives, I need Bhutan, they are controlling Bhutan. I need Nepal, and of course they can also say that Bangladesh is within America, within Indian periphery, within the Indian geography, so need not to be separated. So this dangerous situation might lead a international to the regional conflict.
Right.
And the world leaders, the world politics gradually shifting from the policy of accommodation, policy of tolerance to a policy of right-wing politics and a politics of invasion and ignoring all international rule, law and norms.
Of course.
So this is a dangerous world that we are heading for, and for that this Trump will be blamed that he has opened this Pandora box. What he is doing, he is totally unstabilizing the whole world, and if the regional politics is anywhere, conflict anywhere is a threat to everywhere. So right. A conflict in South America or in American soil is definitely a pressure or is a conflict, potential politics. And if this example is taken by the big countries like China, Russia, India, so that will be very bad for the whole world. So that will completely break down the world order. We hope that should not happen. So that's why America has a beauty that their people protest.
Of course.
When Gaza was the brutal killing was going on in Gaza, it is the American people who really protested. That American people really protest.
Of course.
So that is a positive thing within America, in their democracy, in their practice of this rightist politics. So that is a real check for Trump not to go further, not to unstabilize anymore in the world.
Right. I want to have a very short a comment from Norman Flood Barnes. Would you agree with Barrister M. Sarwar Hossain on the matters that he has raised regarding America's position regarding the various world topics? Norman Flood Barnes, on your closing statement.
The unfortunate thing is that the world is still going to continue. There'll be surface conversations, surface agreements about what we will and will not do. But at the end of the day, the world will continue to function as itself. We have ghost fleets, we have shadow fleets, we have stuff that can be oil can be loaded from Russia, put into another tanker in another country, and still going on. So
Right.
yes, on the surface, this game are going on about what we will and what not do, and I'm going to take tariffs off. I can put tariffs on, basically let you do. But in the end of the day, trade and commerce, these activities will continue. There will be very little effect by saying, I'm going to stop using that, but at the same time, the
Right.
demand and the cost is not going to uh, change things. So what we're seeing is basically a show, a facade for the point that we actually doing something, we're making progress, we're being effective. But in the end, the world is still moving forward and things are still happening and nothing changed from yesterday.
I must
Thank you.
thank Norman Floyd Barnes for his contribution and joining us on this broadcast today. And I want to focus now back onto the studio with Barrister Sarwar Hussain. A lot of topics that you have opened up, and I really enjoy this discussion. I want to have a question based on a thing that you had mentioned, plunder. The word, the terminology, definition of plunder comes from when the medieval ages, when the pirates used to loot another boat, another ship, and that is that same characterization is still being used. According to the news, Venezuela's interim president Delcy Rodriguez received U.S. envoy Laura Dogu on Monday as the two countries move forward to repair relations that were severed back in 2019. To follow the rule book of the U.S. On the future planning and prospectus of the Venezuelans. We know Nicolas Maduro was a very favored leader by their country, and it has now opened up an entire realm. Today, if the People's Liberation Army in China, the PLA, choose to attack Taiwan, that would not be that would be compared normal by international standards set by the U.S. administration.
And America has lost the moral ground. US has lost the moral ground. So USA is going to establish a rule, the jungle rule. Might is right.
Of course.
So the world has shifted. It is a modern world. It's a world that you must respect the sovereignty of others.
Of course.
You must not intervene in the others' internal affairs. So today, if China just go and occupy Taiwan, US has nothing to do.
Of course.
Nothing. They don't have the moral ground.
in their own activities.
Rather, they have given
Venezuela.
This is on type of license that I have done this thing. You can do this. How can you capture a head of a state of the other country simply for the oil?
A month
it is
and 3
nothing
days,
but the
and
oil.
we still do not forget
it is
such an
nothing
action.
but the oil. Yeah, everybody understands. They concern people because whole interest of Trump was on the oil factory of Venezuela. Now you are trying to sell this oil factory. So this is an era of plundering. The British rule in this subcontinent continued for 190 years. The first 100 years is known as the era of plundering. They have plundered. You know that Kohinoor is still in probably UK. It is not returned. We know the issue of the Kohinoor. So that old game, that old jungle rule is coming back.
Imperialism, colonialism, all of them themes are coming back. A very excellent observation by Barrister Sarwar Hussain. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a short break. Do stay with us on International Affairs.
Ultimate relaxation, modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured. Elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotels in Bangladesh. Grand Palace Hotel Dhaka, 22 Kakrail, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10 Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international style.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the last segment of International Affairs. We had Norman Floyd Barnes, who had joined us on this program, and in the studio we have Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. I want to talk about our region, our country. We know that this region is facing a lot of tensions regarding, we have in December a junta-led government winning of Myanmar, and now we are in February. We are looking forward to a referendum as well as a national election in Bangladesh. What is the aspiration of the people? How do you see this? Which are the seats that you may sense some kind of escalation, some kind of violence? What is your observation?
In the newspaper report, it has been reported that as many as 50 seats can face violence. There is a potential reasons for violence, that the independent candidates and the party selected candidates, they are at loggerhead, and in most of the cases the election norms, this customs is violated. Nobody is obeying the electoral rule about the campaign. So anybody has a strength can violate, but two issues are very alarming, and our court could not really deliver anything on this. First issue is the loan defaulter.
Important.
We got a chance, we had an opportunity that this time the good people will come for the competition in the parliament election, and the people with good character, not loan defaulter, not dual citizen, will go to the parliament. So first issue, the loan defaulter is not resolved. 42 loan defaulter of a party is participating. Now using the court system, they are participating in the election. That is a very bad message for the society and for aftermath of 5th August. The second issue is dual citizenship. TIB has reported that as many minimum, they have said 2, but from unofficial report there are more than 20.
Right.
So 2 they have named, they have the documents, they have the data. So how come we, after this report, and there is a writ filed by one candidate against another competing candidate. Now today Supreme Court has given a order that all candidates will participate in the election and they will not take oath before resolving the issue.
Okay.
Might be good, but there are another 10 days, minimum 9 days.
Right.
With expeditious hearing, this should have been resolved, and then there could be a good news. Resolving, hanging over this issue, they will not give an oath. I have not seen the order, but as I heard, so this is again a bad news. This should have been resolved. An example should have been set that being a loan defaulter or being a dual citizen, you cannot participate.
That should have been automatically a disqualification.
Disqualified, and our judiciary, our higher court, High Court Division or Appellate Division should have upheld that. That is the public expectation. We have to see the public expectation of after 5th August. What is that expectation? A just and fair society. A society free of extortion, free of corruption, free of bribery. That should be. Now, if you allow the loan defaulter who have continued for last 15 years with this with loan defaulting the loan, they will plunder the bank. The way SLM has plundered, the way other has plundered, dozens of banks have plundered. Today I had a case in a court where this plundering of Islami Bank, 70 billion taka has been taken away. 70 billion.
Billion, not even in the millions. Billions.
Not billion. And with all false document, with the paper company. And it has been done in a period of 1 month. 1 month, and that month is November month, and that is known as Black November.
Right.
Now, I see that our judiciary is very flexible. They are not taking a very strong stand. Today, those two dual citizens and these loan defaulters should have been disqualified.
Right.
No way they should have been allowed to contest in the election. A good example would have been set. That's why I said that our judiciary is really very weak. What we have seen in London, if you compare, this is very, very, very weak. Using the court system, these culprits, these plunderers, these money launderers, they use court system in their advantage.
Right.
If a money laundering case, if a corruption case continues for 10 years, 20 years, these offenders, these criminals, these money launderers, they get continuous benefit.
Right.
So we have to take the country in really to a good shape. 2 reforms is must. One reforms is the internal reforms of the political parties. That political parties will not allow any bad person, loan defaulter or money launderer in their party. So one type of accountability is needed within the party.
Right. Before accountability on governance as well.
If political party really establish the accountability, a accountability within the party, if they take action on the corrupt people, really 80% corruption will be just get off from here. 80% corruption will be removed from here. Secondly, we need a very strong judiciary to punish the corrupt, money launderer, extortionist, whoever he is. He might be anybody. But in our judiciary, this is very unfortunate. If a treasury bench, if a lawyer of the ruling party or coming to the ruling party, potentially coming to the power, or belong to a member of the ruling party, we see sometimes court has a different of behavior, different of approaches, different of order they gives. This is very unfortunate, and this is this reflects that our judiciary is really very, very weak. We need to strengthen our judicial system by which nobody, no culprit, no offender, no money launderer, whoever he is, must be punished.
Of course.
Otherwise, the spirit, the demand of 5th August will never be achieved.
Sir, I must thank you. That was a very beautiful comments and commentary regarding the current situation of the judiciary as well as the political playing grounds of Bangladesh. I must thank you for your valuable insight and information regarding this topic as well. I must thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining us on Zoom. Ladies and gentlemen, as I draw closer, today is important because the US forces had successfully captured the Marshall Islands from Japan. And on a high note, I want to finish that the upcoming vote is coming up. I really hope and that people pursue their rights to a vote, that they go to the balloting stations and they vote for the party that they think they support. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it for today. I shall see you all on tomorrow's program.